We have this sort of self-planting kale that just came up. And some greens. I've got to get this burdock out of here. Did you know burdock root is very good? I'm going to just pull this out now. Let's see what it looks like. Well, it's a little bit of a root. It's beautiful. Anyway, this root is quite medicinal. It's got anti-cancer and digestive properties. So we're going to keep it and figure out what you do with it.
We are all connected, actually. If we don't have the oxygen, if we don't have the bees, if we don't have the fish, by polluting, throwing in whatever toxins we throw wherever we throw, what we do in the atmosphere, it's all connected. Nature is incredible. Everything is working together. The order within nature that makes it possible for all of this to take place. The way the plants create oxygen so that we can be healthy and thrive, and the flowers come up and the bees and they spread and they pollinate, and everything is just working together in a total order.
Goldenrod. We have them here. Yeah. And actually the birds love, not the birds, the bees. Yeah. The bees, they just go crazy.
This year, I felt more of a connection with nature than I've had in the past. Maybe I'm becoming more sensitive to my environment. We have a lot of weeds that came up and we just let them go. Just let them go. And there's these cycles of flowers that are coming up from these weeds. And then there's just gazillion bees coming around. And it was just like, okay, I'm walking here, I gotta be careful because there's so many bees. But it's just this relationship that I personally have been feeling with the insect world and the plants.
It is the one that, I don't know if you saw what Isaac had picked yesterday, but there's beech nuts. Yeah.
I think to be in touch with your inner self is what can ultimately bring the most feeling of happiness and satisfaction. Doing something that is helping the planet, perhaps, being able to share that with others. That's it there. Sort of looks like something out of Dr. Seuss. But those red berries are edible.
We are all one. And so by making a change within yourself, you're affecting the whole.
We need to acknowledge and be more in touch that we are part of nature ourselves. And through that observation, we can observe ourselves.
To be in accord with a real natural life, do not take out more from nature than you bring back. There must be kind of a balance between taking and giving.
We are a part of nature, we are equal to it, so if the nature is not healthy, we are also not healthy.
In Europe, about 75% of all the insect as a mass has disappeared. We decided to use our property here as a kind of a safe place for insects. We have started to put up these insect hotels about 2 years ago. We are hoping to contribute to this variety, but of course we are just a tiny spot on this world. But it's better to do something than nothing. If you want to have a good forest, you have to take care of it. Here in Europe we have a sickness of the ash trees, and most of our ash trees are sick. Now we are felling them. I like this work. I'm out in nature. I'm sweating. This is good for the metabolism, and I like this work. For over 40 years, I worked in psychiatric clinics. I was in leading positions, director for various homes for people with mental disabilities from birth or from accident, all kinds. Now, since I am pension age at home, I can grant myself perhaps a half an hour at noon to lay down and let my thoughts wander. But being out in nature, in my garden at home, this is a recreation for me, because all the time I see something to improve, and yeah, that's really, I don't have to lazy around, and so because it's not good for me. Now we have people from abroad here, people coming here for working a couple of days, like you have met here before. Yeah. Yeah? Ich habe sie schon gesetzt, kannst nur ein Seil bringen. Und ja, und sie müssen dann auf dieser Seite von den Bäumen vorbei. Ja, aber weißt, das Seil muss hier runterlaufen, von dir aus gesehen rechts. Ja, aber der Baum muss eben auch links runter, der darf nicht rechts. Der muss hier über das Bächli runterfallen.
So what were you talking with Jacobus about there?
What I was talking to Jacobus, yes, we were discussing of how to bring this tree down here, this little valley here. And I told him he was planning to go on this direction with the rope, but I said no, there is a direct direction here, straight direction to the tractor. And we have to fasten here the rope, then bring tension up here. Being retired doesn't mean to stop working. Human beings should be curious for everything new until the end of life. And I would prefer, when the time comes when I'm dying, I would prefer that I'm aware throughout the whole process. I would like to witness my dying process as long as possible. This would be interesting for me. those days, 79, around 79.
The community we have, the place we have, the place we are sitting or standing right now, it was built up mainly by Billy Meier himself and probably 2 or 3 friends in the beginning in 1977.
Billy Meier is an author who's written over 60 books. He's written some very interesting books on life, death, historical information, political information, environmental warnings, the psyche, the might of thought, the way to live. That's another book that he's written. The material is so interesting. He lives in Switzerland in a small town that's Schmidruti, but he lives behind Schmidruti. It's called Hinter Schmidruti. Behind Schmidruti is what it translates to.
Have you ever visited?
Yes, I've gone to visit Billy. I've been there 12 times and started back in 91. I was the first time I went to visit Billy.
Well, Billy Meier, he established a community. Within that community were people who recognized the importance of what Billy was writing, who wanted to help him.
Die alte rausnehmen, oder? Die wird da so eingehängt. Die neue.
They were people that came out of their own will, who worked their own jobs, raising their own families. They come in their spare time and help with the publishing and the day-to-day tasks that are involved with producing the books that Billy is writing.
Rauchen lassen. Jetzt muss ich kontrollieren,
Die werden nun auf der Schneidmaschine eigentlich nur noch halbiert und die Seitenränder
The first
gleichmäßig.
6 months, my father, Jacobus, and several other people working very hard till midnight or later, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, go to the daily job. And after the daily job, they will come again and work together.
Das ist das gedruckte Sonderbulletin. Das wird jetzt zusammengetragen mit der
They come and help run the center and do the gardens and do the tree cutting and help collect firewood for the winter and clear up the leaves.
We are here since 1977. We have various different albums here with all kinds of photos from the first days and weeks of purchasing and starting with the work here on our property. Here's the entrance on this corner, and it nearly toppled over the house in the beginning. There were once 100 visitors from the military up here, and Billy had a presentation, and Jacobus had to go down and put on beams on this side so that the house would not topple over. Our community was founded by a man called Meier. He's known by his nickname, which was given to him in Tehran, in Persia, by an American who compared him with Billy the Kid from Western lore, because he was always traveling then in his youth between India and Switzerland. He had a hat and so on, and had a pistol here and a knife here. If you start reading Billy Meier's books, you start realizing everything that's written in it you can prove within yourself if you are studying it, not just reading. If you really are studying what's written in there, compare it with what you have experienced throughout your life and implement it in your everyday life, you realize this is really the truth.
I first read the book The Way to Live in 2015. And just like the other books that Billy Meier has written, just reading isn't enough. It takes a slow, careful study and then an observation of life and of reality. I find the books very empowering. They allow me to take responsibility and to find the wisdom inside myself instead of looking for answers externally. The Way to Live in particular, I find especially helpful because it is like a guidebook for everyday living. The books verify that I am responsible for my life because it is a composite of the choices that I've made.
In one's personal evolution, there comes a point where you want to know answers and you have a lot of questions. I think anybody who is seeking will have a lot of questions, and they want to find out, well, what is this all about anyway? For me, the teaching is about coming to a better understanding of who I am as a human being and my relationship with the universe, but also each other human being and nature. So to me, it's about practical life, making the mistakes, cause and effect, learning to be a better human being or a real human being, finding out more about what truth is. It's an ongoing process because learning never ends.
In his books, it's interwoven throughout that our thinking largely creates our life. There's some quote, like if you look at the cross-section of a person's life, that reflects where they are in their thoughts, and that's so true. That teaching, it's out there for anyone to find. He's not the one and only person or the source throughout nature. If anyone observes nature, from the microscopic to the macroscopic, consciousness, evolution-based knowledge is there. We are all students, and it's just up to us to be able to perceive it, want to perceive it, explore it, look for the truth.
When you're looking, you find it. If you're looking for the truth, you're going to find it. In the things I studied before, I would find illogic and it would make me feel confused, and it was based on belief. But when I studied these particular books and materials, I saw the consistency in the logic and how everything fit together. And that when I analyzed it and tested it against the real world, because that's the real litmus test. If you test what you're reading against the way things are in the world or the way things are in your life, if it doesn't make sense, why? If it's going to be of any value, we'll encourage you to think more deeply, think beyond, and not just take something at face value. The things that I am studying now, I've been studying for over 10 years, and I can say without a doubt, it's improved my thinking and my ability to solve problems, my ability to see reality and to see myself and, you know, who I am. These books represent a honing of our observations of reality and our recognition of reality. The first book I read, called The Psyche, I found this book especially rewarding because of its deep understanding of the psychology of people.
In The Psyche, Billy is explaining different parts of the inner life of the human, the consciousness, the mentality, the psyche, the subconsciousness. He is explaining in The Psyche what all these parts are doing and in which part these fractals belong. The same book, you can read it several times, and every time you discover different informations.
The teaching is based on the laws of nature and creation. This teaching is just the outcome of reality, of what really is regarding our life, regarding life of nature, regarding the life of our planet, regarding the life of the universe. This teaching as a kind of help for us in order to find our own way in our life.
We're not talking about like just learning a bunch of data. It has to have value in the sense that it's practical, that we can see some difference that it's making in our day-to-day life. Teaching can be a signpost, but it's up to each individual to do the work. To me, the teaching presents possibilities that could be the truth. And then the next step is to, okay, well, let's think about this stuff. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? You know, it's a sifting through of different ideas and thoughts and seeing whether it's applicable, whether it's logical.
It's nothing else than a practical guide how we can find our own way, because only the practical life is the proof whether or not this works or not.
This teaching has been like looking into the layers of an onion. It's just going deeper and deeper into understanding and knowledge, and giving me so much to reflect on. I can read part of a book one day and then come back a year later and it's as if I've never read that book. A whole new understanding, layers of understanding open up. So to me it provides meaning and purpose.
There's an evolution that's going on within oneself, but there is a depth within the material that allows for that evolution to continue. So part of it is an investigation. Reading the material has been an investigation for me, an investigation into life and into understanding the nature of reality.
The teaching is based on the creation's law. Without creational laws, nothing existing. All creators are embedded in these creational laws. It's all, includes all. What you see, what you feel, what you think, what you do. It's not only one direction, like mathematics, like chemicals, like orthographics and all kind of them. I think you could say it's multidimensional. Teaching includes all kind of life forms. Human beings, trees, plants, grasses, animals, insects, birds, fishes.
All the ecology.
All the being.
We want to present to ourselves really a place of peace and happiness. First work for me today. I've grown up in a family where we were really near nature. My father and mother were interested in nature and going into the mountains. We had a huge garden where we had to help. And so I was actually growing up with a very good contact with nature. At the age of 20, there was kind of a turning point in my life. I was confronted with my quest for the meaning of life. I read all kinds of books and had a collection of all, all kind of stuff, but all of these realizations did not satisfy my inner being. And this changed then a lot when I found this community here and the teaching. When I had realized that religion is a fake, it's just built on 3 or 4 books, I of course questioned myself. There must be something below, beneath, within, everything. There is a force which we in our group is called creation. In English, creation universal consciousness, and this is something that enlivens everything that exists. I have a sparkle of this energy which makes myself alive. And this, realizing that this is really the case, is a very huge, gives a very huge impact into one's own life and gives a perspective that there is something within me that will survive, a part of me will survive and continue to exist. And this brings with it, of course, all kinds of new knowledge and entirely changes one's stance towards life and death. And so I have no fear about death.
Creation it's through everything. It's a concept you can't be explained, that we cannot fathom. It's not in words, and it's something we can't understand. It's what makes the galaxies, the stars, the cosmos, the gas nebulae. It can't be any kind of anthropomorphic being, which is something we just project as being something like us, but it's up in heaven watching over us and judging us. It can't be, it's impossible. A planet being able to be in the Goldilocks zone, where it's going to be at the place where the laws of creation can come into effect, that there's enough heat, that there's going to be enough gases to create the amino acids that are the building blocks of life, and the introduction of oxygen, and the millennia of time that it takes for things to evolve and get to the point where consciousness evolution can even begin to exist in the form of a human being.
There's also an evolution process with the planet, with nature. Everything is evolving. Everything has a life, it comes into being, and it dies. So there's an evolution, and we are part of that evolution. Each human being is evolving. We are in a process of becoming something more than just what we were.
It's a reality that a huge power and force is behind everything that exists. Without this force, this energy, this creation, universal consciousness, nothing could have come into existence.
We have this little bit of essence in ourselves that gives us life. You can actually feel that.
All kinds of butterflies, variations.
The reality is that we need nature to survive.
The laws of nature and creation is the same thing. It's based on laws like cause and effect. All laws of nature and creation you can perceive and observe in nature, how the nature works, how the animal work, how the plants work, etc., etc. And if you observe everything in nature in a neutral way, then you can get many experiences and a lot of knowledge about how the laws and nature work and how you can apply them for your own life.
If you concentrate on reality, you also concentrate on nature. If you look at nature, you will find and can draw conclusions for your own life. The becoming and passing, for instance, with the seasons, and that everything has a cause and an effect. Everything is an endless circle of becoming and passing. If you're looking at nature, we can really use it as a compass.
The laws of nature have been in effect ever since the Big Bang. I mean, it's just a given. It's what's all around us. It's for us to see and recognize.
Nature is reality. The natural laws is reality. Gravitation is reality. That the sun shines on the day and that we are circling around the sun with our planet. This is based on facts.
We decided to not just put a garden out here for us, and stuff for us, but also for the insect life, the birds, the wildlife. We have built pollinator gardens here for the insects and the birds and the bees, and the monarch butterflies, which are disappearing.
Can you tell me about the birds and the bees?
Another time.
Another time, yeah. That's another subject. The laws of nature are unchangeable. Gravity exists, that's a law of nature. We all know that if we drop something, it's going to fall. Finite resources on a planet, that a planet has only so many resources, is a law of nature. When we're talking about human nature, people need to understand what our human nature is. When a person misunderstands what our human nature is, the true human nature, they think it's natural for people to be violent. They think it's natural for people to want to subjugate others. And they think it's natural for us to destroy wherever we live. They don't even try to overcome those things because they say that's natural. But really that is become an unnatural state. Because our natural state is peace, love, harmony, and allowing freedom to other people. And when we ignore that, we are ignoring the laws of nature. Everything is connected. So what does that mean? So if we're going to live according to the laws of nature, we're going to take all of this into consideration, all the things that we're talking about, polluted air and the mass extinction that's happening on our planet right now. We're going to think about it and say, okay, what is the way to live in order to preserve our planet, bring it back to a state of health again. When we become disconnected from nature, we're disconnected from reality. If we live in line with nature, we logically see how everything is connected, and then we look at our own lives and we say, okay, how do I need to be operating my life and my thinking so that I'm in harmony with nature?
Open your eyes for the small mysteries of nature. Learn to see the wonder in a normal small flower. And feel the flower. Feel the environment. To figure out the laws of nature. The basics are the physical laws, mathematic laws, chemical laws. There are basics. But the higher laws, they will based in the consciousness, in the subconsciousness, in the behavior against other people, in the behavior against the nature, in the behavior against the animals. So it's also a psychological thing, because laws of nature or the laws of creation are static, but the using of these laws is very dynamic, because you have another mind than I. So it's always different. The law of nature or the law of creation is always the same, but depend about the level of evolution of the consciousness. As higher the consciousness will be evolved, as more laws of nature you could recover. Right now, in the present, we don't recover our being completely. I have a speech. The most of the people are like RC models. Don't looking right, don't looking left. Only this one point, and no care about the environment. And this mind must change. It must change before the human will be able to recover the law of nature. So it's not so easy to say this is a law of nature, this is a law of nature. It's experience.
Our unique experiences, our unique backgrounds all produce the wide range of what the world is, and I think that's what makes everything so beautiful.
We as people, as human beings, we are responsible for ourselves. If you want to live a good life, it's our own decision to do so. If we think in a real logical way, which is based on the laws of nature, which is based on reality, which is based on a neutral intention then we have the key. We hold the key for a good life, for our own good life.
I'm responsible for everything I think and from the resulting feelings and actions. Eating time. Sweating time. Recreation time. Eating time. If you are leading a good life and in line with nature, it's a really rewarding.
Overall, I'd say our purpose is to evolve. And when we recognize that that is our purpose, then we can steer ourselves. And through our own evolving, we're going to help bring others along with us.
Each human being is evolving. Through our life experiences, we grow as human beings.
We have to learn to perceive, because if you start to perceive yourself, your positives and your negatives, your strengths and your weaknesses, then you can start to building up your personality. If you perceive everything in a neutral way, you learn how to think in a real way.
As a student of this teaching, I know that I'm uncovering layers and layers of things that I was taught, or that I learned to believe that I'm dissolving, so that I can see the true nature of reality. One of the things we need to do is realize that just because someone is a different color, has a different culture, they're a different sex, they live in a different place, that they are just as human as we are. And I think the only way we're going to be able to recognize that is to strengthen our own consciousness. Harmony is when things fit together. If you have harmony, there's understanding, there is caring, there are pieces that create harmony. Love, the desire for peace, the allowance of other people's opinions, that's all a part of harmony.
The highest creational law is the law of love. The creational love means the connection between all creators. On this pure energy level, all material is connected. It's equal. This vibration of love go through all plants, all trees, all planets in our universe.
When I go outside and I look at nature, and I see everything that is provided for us to survive, and the beauty of it, and how everything is interconnected, and it's actually a perfect working system, that's love to me. Having the absolute knowledge and understanding that we are all one.
Nature is nourishing us, provides us with everything that we need to live and to be able to think and learn.
All systems are one. There's no division. between plants, animals, humans, trees, rocks, water, is created to be one system. And if you lose any aspects of those, the whole thing disintegrates.
Your knowledge, your wisdom, your love, your happiness, your freedom, because only knowledge makes you free